Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to part 2 of our series on building your first chatbot. In the previous video, we used Google Colab to write our very first Python instruction, and we used print to make the computer display a sentence on the screen. Now, our chatbot can speak but cannot listen. We need to make the chatbot receive a message from the user. So in this video, we're going to teach it how to ask a question, wait for the user to type an answer, remember that answer, and then use it in a response. To start, let's open the same notebook we created in the previous video. Once you have it open, click plus code to create another code cell, and inside that new cell, type these two lines exactly as you see them. Now run the cell. This time, instead of immediately displaying a message, the program will ask you, "What is your name?" Click beside the question, type your name, and press enter. For example, I'm going to type Adam, and as soon as I press enter, the program replies, "Hello, Adam." Let's understand how those two lines actually made this happen. We'll start with the first line. The first new thing here is the word input. You can think of input as Python's way of saying, ask the user to type something and wait for an answer. The text inside the parentheses, "What is your name?" is simply the question that Python displays on the screen. We already saw parentheses and quotation marks in the previous video, so this part should look familiar. The quotation marks tell Python that this is ordinary text, while the parentheses contain the text that we are giving to the input instruction. So now Python knows how to ask the question, but once the user answers, we have another problem. Where should Python keep that answer? We do not want the answer to disappear as soon as the user types it. We want to save it so we can use it later, and that is why we wrote name equals at the beginning of the line. The word name is what programmers call a variable, but do not let that word make this sound more complicated than it really is. A variable is simply a place where the computer can store some information. You can imagine it as a small box inside the computer's memory with a label written on it. In our case, the label on that box is name, and the equal sign basically tells Python to take the information it receives and place it inside that box. So Python asks the question, waits for the user to type something, and then stores whatever the user typed inside the variable called name. If the user types Adam, you can imagine that the box called name now contains the word Adam. The box itself is called name, while the information currently stored inside it is Adam. And now that Python has remembered the answer, we can use it somewhere else in our program, which is exactly what happens in the second line. We already know that print displays something on the screen, but this time we're doing something slightly more interesting because we're not displaying just one fixed sentence. Instead, we're joining several pieces together. The first piece is hello. Then we have the information stored inside the variable name, and finally, we have the exclamation mark. The plus signs are what join those pieces together. So if name currently contains Adam, Python takes hello, joins it with Adam, adds an exclamation mark at the end, and the final result becomes hello, Adam. Now try running the cell again, but this time enter a different name. For example, type Sarah. The program should now display hello, Sarah. And notice something important here. We did not change the print instruction at all. The code stayed exactly the same. The response changed because the information stored inside the variable changed. That is one of the main reasons variables are so useful. They allow our programs to work with information that may be different every time the program runs. So now our little chatbot can receive information from the user, store that information inside a variable, and then use it to create a response. Before we move forward, though, I want to show you a very common mistake that you might make when you're first learning this. You might accidentally write something like this. If you run that, Python will display a red error message. And the first time you see one of those big red messages, your reaction might be, "Oh no, I broke something." But you did not. Errors are completely normal in programming. In fact, you are going to see them many times, even when you become much more experienced. An error simply means that Python reached an instruction that it could not understand or could not perform. In this particular case, the problem is that we wrote input instead of name. Remember the difference between them. Input is the instruction that asks the user for information, while name is the variable where we stored the answer. We do not want Python to display the input instruction itself. We want it to display the information that was stored inside name, so the correct line is, and this is something worth getting comfortable with from the very beginning. Professional programmers see errors all the time. The important skill is not somehow learning to avoid every possible error. That is impossible. The important skill is learning to look at the error, find the line causing the problem, understand what went wrong, and correct it. An error is not the computer telling you that you cannot program. It is simply the computer telling you, I could not carry out this instruction, so take another look at it. And with that, we have actually made quite a lot of progress today. We used input to ask the user a question. We created a variable called name to store the answer. We used the equals sign to place that answer inside the variable, and then we used the plus sign to join normal text with the information stored inside that variable. So our chatbot can now speak, listen, and even remember one piece of information. But there is still something it cannot do. It cannot make a decision. No matter what name the user enters, the program still follows exactly the same instruction. And that is what we are going to change in the next video. In part 3, we are going to teach our chatbot how to make a decision. It will ask the user how they are feeling, look at the answer, and then choose a different response depending on what the user says. And that is the point where our chatbot will really start to feel more like an actual program. I'll see you in part 3.